All right, shalom, shalom. Barakatah Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elder bishops here at Great Millstone. Shalom to you brothers that's pushing the work in truth with all sincerity. Coming back at you with another one. Lord willing, this one is edifying. The name of this one is going to be Every Hand of the Wicked. Okay, Every Hand of the Wicked. All right, and well, I'll just let it speak for itself. Man, you talk about, things, becoming worse out here, sedition among men. And we prophesied it, been prophesying of it. And this is the tone that everybody's taking, upon them seeing all, the revealment of their leaders' behavior behind closed doors. So here we go.
And what about politics?
I don't give a shit.
You don't find it a great
I really don't care
treasure
about
trove
politics.
of
Some people do.
material?
I don't. I think the system is corrupt. Every time I'm walking down the street, someone's like, hey, vote for so-and-so. I'm like, it's all corrupt. Anarchy is the only way we're going to change anything. Violence. Kill a politician. That's the only way you can change shit.
What?
Yeah.
I mean, obviously you're joking.
No.
Are you serious?
Yeah, voting is not going to make a difference. It has never. Not in 100 years.
So what would you like to see?
I'd like to see some politicians start getting murdered and reform the government.
Oh my
Do one that's not
God.
corrupted. I'd like to get business out of government, and they're not going to do it. So the only way to do this is start killing people.
Isn't that exactly it?
Look around the world. How has anything changed around the world? How has any regime change happened around the world?
And there you go, your recipe for sedition, insurrection. All right. And you see a lot of people taking on this, this talking point, and it's directly parallel with what Scripture said we're going to be dealing with in these times, All right. I mean, if you've been paying attention, of course, and, being occupied in prophecy, things are lining up things are lining up exactly according to what the Scripture says is going to happen. So I'll play a little bit more.
Violence. That's the only way. You think people in Arab countries are that much different than us?
Yeah.
Violence. That's the only way you depose a system that doesn't represent the people anymore.
I mean, I think the wonderful thing.
Yeah, it's not random violence. It's accumulated injustice. All right. It's a sudden reversal. It's going to be a reversal. All right. Okay. And we want to start with Job 20, but I'll play a little bit more.
About the United States is that we can vote, and you do change it.
Your vote doesn't go anywhere. Your vote doesn't do anything.
Yes, it does.
You can now be arrested and never tried if they say you're a terrorist. Never tried in your life. Just arrested and held forever. Who voted for that?
So shoot them all.
No, not shoot them all. Start shooting them until they get business out of politics and they start representing who we are instead of their money interests. Yeah, violence. That's the only way shit changes, man.
Okay.
Look at history. Tell me when a regime has changed with voting. I mean, I know.
I'm not trying.
That's not fair because you haven't studied this stuff.
Well, no, I'm not trying to, murder politicians. I'm not trying to do what I don't like that others do that I would like to change. So.
And this is part of the reason why there's a crackdown, because of course the elite, they know that the pressure is building upon, the low class, the poor, and it's just a matter of time. This ain't rocket science, so yeah, I mean, if you want to find this video, you can find it. This was on X, so let's go to some precepts. Yeah, so the elite have always known that, there would be a collective, a unified movement, eventually, of the poor. So what they had to do is bring crackdowns, all right? And that's, beef up the military presence or militarize, the police, or as we see it, the ICE, okay? Because eventually they knew that they weren't going to, there was going to be some dissidence or some dissent, in allocating all the resources and creating this system, this beast system of theirs. So it's definitely pointing towards, an uprising. All right. So Job 20 and all right, 20 and 22, in the fullness of his sufficiency. Well, let's start here. All right. 20 and 4. Knowest thou not this of old, since man was placed upon earth? All right, that the triumphing of the wicked is short, and the joy of the hypocrite but for a moment. All right, and what does nature tell us? Okay, nature tell us that wickedness, it ultimately has its time. I mean, it runs its course. All right, don't last forever, and that's just the universal law that the Lord had created. All right, as the scriptures say, that which a man soweth, that shall he also reap. So if you sow corruption, guess what? You're gonna reap corruption. Okay, and for the most part, the society has been corrupted, and it's been taken over through what ill-gotten gains. All right, and ultimately it's just gonna reap the same. It's gonna go down the same way. All right. So let's jump to this point. Job 20 and 22. In the fullness of his sufficiency, he shall be in straits. Who? The elite. Okay. When they come to when they come to completing, all right, completion of their enterprise, so to speak. All right, they're going to be in straits, meaning it's going to be, it's going to become difficult. All right, that's what straits mean. All right. And that's what this is a collective, the backlash that they're getting from, the masses. All right, that's why bread and circuses is at an all-time high. The world is being distracted. All right, with so much. Okay. So it says, every hand of the wicked shall come upon him. All right. Now, it's not wicked as in, evil. All right. It's not dealing with the poor being evil. All right. It's dealing with the downtrodden. Okay. So here, Aimal is laborer, sufferer, wretched one, laborer, workman, sufferer. It's those who are, it says also toiling. Those who are suffering under what? The current rulership. All right. All right. So it's a reversal. This is what the scriptures are pointing to. All right. Ultimately, and then this goes parallel with 2 Ezra 15 and 16 when that one points out sedition among men. Why is it sedition? Okay. Of course, as you can see, the oppression. All right. People are starting to realize they've been had. All right. Of course, we ain't got no skin in the game. We ain't got no inheritance in this world. So we're pretty much just not bystanders, but I guess you could say, standing by, right? As this all unfolds. All right. Okay. Let's see here. All right. Yep. So let's jump here from here to here. I want to get. Oops. Ecclesiastes Sirach 10:8. It says, because of unrighteous dealings, injuries, and riches got by deceit, the kingdom is translated from one people to another. See? All right. And as of course, as we know, with everything that's been coming out, that this world has been ran a certain type of way, and it's through what? Unrighteous dealings and injuries, right? Because that's what they've been doing to keep their society afloat. All right. And they, protected themselves, all right, by, giving the illusion of, that you can vote, to make change. And people notice that shit ain't real, all right? So 2 Ezra 15:16, okay? For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes. In the course of their actions shall stand in their power. All right. What does that sound like? It sounds like sedition. All right. Well, sedition is an uprising. Okay. So it sounds like, the poor or the average citizen, not regarding their kings or princes. Here, let's get another precept. 2 Ezra 15. All right. 16, it says, there will be great political turmoil with one group trying to overpower another. All right. All right. And gain control while ignoring the legitimate government. All right. And as far as we see that the current powers that be, they got in legitimately, right? Of course, through the process of, voting or whatever. Okay. And so it says there will no longer be free access to cities because they're going to shut down everything. The elite know that that there's a backlash, that they're, and that's why they're creating the grid system, and essentially they're bringing in pre-crime, or they're going to arrest people for pre-crime based on what you say online. So that guy that, he's saying what he's saying online, ultimately they can use Palantir or whatever, the Genesis mission, whatever, how can I say it? Whatever technology they got in place to help them, weed out the dissent. Okay. And that's what it's coming to. All right. It's going to be the government versus the people, and the people are not going to regard their leaders. All right. There will no longer be free access. This is the GNT, by the way, Salakia. All right. There will no longer be free access to the cities because the struggle for power will bring destruction, terror, and total confusion wherever people live. You see, and that's what he said. The only way for things to change for the average person is what? For revolution. That revolution involves what? You rising up against, your own leaders. All right. And of course, we ain't got no skin in the game. We're like, how can you say, we're it's like fans in the stands to one of those one of those Coliseum games. All right, but this involves the rich versus the poor. Okay, so driven by famine and terrible suffering, people will assault their neighbors and mercilessly plunder their possessions. Right, and so the elite also, they're going to be able to generate these famine to keep people busy and keep people's minds off of them. All right. Yep. So, yeah, man, the day of reckoning is coming. All right. Of course, the elite, they're gonna have the upper hand. All right, but eventually the Lord will come down on them. All right, we're gonna see that. Okay. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of chaos because you know the elite know. I'm talking about the Rothschild, the Edomites. They know that there's gonna be a pushback, that there's gonna be dissent, that there's gonna be an uprising, that there's gonna be somewhat of a rebellion against their quote unquote legitimate rule. All right. Because there's one thing the elite know: when they reach the maximum security, the pressure from below will converge, and that's the people just being completely fed up, and they know it, because they're generating most of this stuff. And in fact, when you look at what's happening, also is that they're pushing the people to rebel. And they're putting certain key people in position to, to rebel, all right, and to influence the rebellion, and so the more people realize how much they've been mistreated or manipulated and exploited, the more angry they become. And we know the elite have been preparing for an angrier world, whether they gave the warning, what's his name? Klaus Schwab, he gave the warning out, that prepare for an angrier world, a more angrier world. All right. Okay. And what, man, this what we're about to see, man, is definitely is gonna be different. All right. That's gonna be different, So yeah, this was pretty much it. I want to show that video and just show you the talking points and show you how these people feel. All right. And most of it's being generated so they can bring in more harsh laws, so they can bring in that pre-crime and start arresting people based on what they're doing on social media, what they're saying on social media. Because the ploy is going to be that they're going to say that people are inciting sedition and insurrection, and that's what people are going to be called, insurrectionists. But yeah, man, and they're already detaining people and taking people, as that guy said, arresting people, and they can keep you for however long they want, so yeah. And that's why, it's the Lord that really controls everything. You can't usurp authority over, the leaders, because the Lord put them there. But I mean, eventually for the ones that's ruling now, the Lord is going to take them out of the way. So with that, shalom.